Hey, how's it going, everybody? Coach Kyle here, and as a coach, it's my job to know what my clients need or figure it out for them or with them. I'm often trying to lay out ideas and simply simplify how to solve their problems, their struggles, their concerns. Now, as my client, a runner does not usually want to have science thrown at them or complicated ideas suggested. My job is to often simplify. Part of the reason and benefit of having a coach is you no longer have to figure it out on your own through potentially hours of research and hoping what you are doing, what you decide to do is the right path to take. My clients feel a weight lifted off their shoulders to have a simplified plan laid out for them and ready to go. Now, the majority of people don't need something super fancy when it comes to improving their diet, to lose weight or to gain speed, to improve their health. Today, you're going to learn what I learned as a teen on my 80-pound weight loss journey, a bit about what I was taught while earning my degree in nutrition, and my subsequent helping others improve their nutrition as well. So let's go through the steps of how to improve your diet. First off, the junk. Such as it is often with a new client of mine and they're running, we first start with the base, that which must happen before everything else. And the important thing is this first step is the biggest bang for your buck. With improving a diet, this first step is simply to kind of cut out the crap. Michael Pollan's 2008 book, In Defense of Food, gave what I believe to be the absolute best dietary advice in the line: eat real food, not too much, mostly plants. And this line has stuck with me for the last decade. It's the entire basis of how I lost my 80 pounds. The initial focus of improving a diet often comes down to first cutting out this fake food and eating real food instead. So soda, candies, cookies, fast food. There's no such thing as junk food. There's junk and there's food. And I'm not gonna say that you can never eat this stuff, but it shouldn't be part of your habitual diet. The people who are you see at the local park who are eating McDonald's as in their car as you run by, it's unlikely that's the only fast food they're eating that week. In that case, it's probably potentially maybe part of their habitual diet. But if you eat it, if you eat some junk food, once or twice a week, it's fine. I'm a big believer that it's okay to have some cheat options once in a while. And I'll talk more about this later on when I talk about intermittent dieting. So let's talk about plants next. So I'm a plant-based running coach, and I'm a big believer that whole food plant-based options should be the bulk of your food intake. And the first step was cut out the crap, cut out some of that junk food, the fake food, the food that your grandma probably wouldn't recognize great grandma probably wouldn't recognize as actual food. So I would take Michael Pollan's suggestion a step further, and where he said eat real food, not too much, mostly plants. And I would say eat all plants, but that's beyond the purview of this article, this video. What I want to talk about, though, is that eating more plants is almost always a good idea. So some things to consider are: do you get 2 cups of fruit daily? Do you get 3 cups of vegetables daily? Even as a vegan, it can be kind of hard or kind of easy to overlook fruit. For example, breakfast could be oatmeal. Lunch could be a couple bean burritos. Dinner could be a big rice and curry dish. Healthy diet, that's a great day's worth of eating, but it didn't contain any fruit. So one of the easiest ways that I typically just add fruit into my diet is that I might have a banana, an apple, or an orange before a morning run. There's one piece of fruit, good to go. Have a couple others the rest of the day, and you're right on target. So third, buy better options. Once you nail down the step 1, step 2, you can go a little bit further and cut out the less obvious food that's not doing you any good. My wife and I generally try our best to avoid purchasing items at the grocery store that have sugar in the first 3 ingredients. So the ingredient list, I got some examples. The ingredient list is organized by how much of that item is in this item. So Annie's organic ketchup, yeah, healthy, it's organic. The 3rd ingredient is sugar. It's organic sugar, but it's still sugar. Another option here, this is the barbecue sauce we buy. It's G. Hughes, and there, here we have 4 grams of sugar, 3 grams of added sugar. Here we have 2 grams of carbs, and there's no, it's tomatoes, vinegar, cornstarch, vinegar, salt. There's no sugar added to this. Even something healthy like this Annie's organic sugar has, like I said, it's sugar in this. There's a teaspoon of sugar in a serving of this, or maybe 2 servings. 1 tablespoon. Yeah, I mean, you put this on a burger, you just put a teaspoon of sugar on your burger. So what are other options that seem healthy but just have a ton of sugar added into them? Odwalla drinks, soda, not so sneaky. Most Starbucks beverages, canned fruit, store-bought granola, yogurt has so much sugar in it. Coleslaw has sugar in it. Most energy bars have sugar added to them. Hydration drinks like Gatorade, and even fast food burgers. Like I said, the ketchup they put on those burgers might have, the 2nd ingredient is probably high fructose corn syrup. So what's the good news? There's always a better alternative. So like I said, here is the barbecue sauce we buy, and it's a typical barbecue sauce would have brown sugar as the 2nd ingredient. That means that other than water, or in this case, it's vine ripened tomatoes, and the 1st ingredient is tomato paste. So in a typical ketchup, the 2nd ingredient is often high fructose corn syrup. So that means there's tomatoes and basically just sugar added into it. Barbecue sauce, a typical barbecue sauce might be crushed tomatoes and then brown sugar. Believe it or not. So one of my favorite articles that I ever read, the title stuck out to me so much, and it was your ketchup addiction is actually a sugar addiction, because like I said earlier, you put some ketchup on a burger, you're putting a teaspoon of sugar on top of that burger. So let's talk about some other ways you can kind of improve your diet. First off is intermittent dieting. And this is the idea that you don't need to be in a calorie deficit or eat perfectly every single day. But instead, maybe have 2 kind of cheat days or refeeding days weekly. These can be higher calorie days. People often find that these higher calorie days or these cheat days increase the compliance with the lower calorie, the healthier days. It can preserve muscle mass, preserve metabolism if you're in a calorie deficit, and most importantly, preserve sanity so you're not in a calorie deficit 7 days out of the week. If you know that Friday and Sunday you can eat an extra bean burrito, you can have an extra beer, you're gonna eat better on the other days. Next up is whole grains. And this is a simple switch that can increase your diet quality greatly. Purchase more whole grain bagels, rice, use whole grain flour instead of white flour when you make your homemade pancakes. The increased fiber and nutrients from whole grain breads are one of the most simple and well-established ways to just improve your diet. Next up, we have tracking food intake. MyFitnessPal is a very common tool. You could even scan the barcode on this and it will put it in there for you. So, and if you're looking to lose some fat or just improve your food intake quality, logging what you eat for a few days monthly or once a week, every month can go a long ways towards this. You don't even have to purposely change what you eat. Research shows that simply the act of being more aware and conscious of what you're eating through the logging of what you're eating can help you eat better. It's increasing the mindfulness. It's thinking about what we're eating and how much we're eating. So next up, speaking of how much we're eating, let's talk about portion control. Eating until satisfied, not until full. This was a big one for me. I've suffered from binge eating in the past. It can be helpful to portion out your leftovers into some containers for a future meal, even before you dish up the current meal. Have the Tupperware handy, throw some rice and the curry in there, put it in the fridge, and then dish up your own meal. This was a big game changer for me. Eating until satisfied, not until full. As soon as I feel that tinge of I think I'm full, I finish that bite and I'm done. That is contrary to what I was doing 10 years ago, where I would eat until stuffed, almost uncomfortably stuffed at times. And kind of piggybacking on that, slow down. Again, I used to just inhale my food so much that my wife would tell me to slow down because it's noticeable how fast I was eating. The fork was going down into the plate even before I was done chewing my previous bite. But now I try to put my utensil down between bites and have a sip of water, beer, tea, fizzy water, whatever, between every single bite. Chewing slower and eating slower increases the meal enjoyment, but it also lets your body have the time and the opportunity to catch up to how fast you're eating. There's a delay between your stomach, your stomach sensors. They sense the volume, the pressure in your stomach, and it doesn't happen instantaneously. It takes a second. So next up, let's talk about intermittent fasting. This is probably something you've heard of, and it's basically pushing back breakfast into the late morning or the early afternoon. Personally, I find that I feel more energetic on these days, these mornings, where I wait until noon to eat breakfast. And studies go kind of both ways on this method, if it's actually helpful or not. But the main consensus is that if it works for you, it works for you. Research often shows that this can just be a good way to reduce snacking or cut some calories or junk food out of the day. You might not actually eat less calories. You might just eat them in 2 or 3 larger meals rather than 4 or 5 smaller meals and snacks, etc. And I'll often, if I don't have a morning workout or anything and I'm in the zone, coaching, drinking some great coffee, I might go until noon and just not be hungry at all. But if it's the morning and I'm just really hungry, I'll eat. If I have a morning workout, I'll eat. I never force it. But, like I said, if I'm in the zone with my coaching, got some good coffee, I'll fast, 4 days a week maybe until 11 noon or so. So if you like what you learned here and you want to get more info on my sometimes unconventional yet proven, down-to-earth and simple tactics for helping runners, my runners, helping you improve their running through sustainable training, nutritional guidance, developing great mindfulness practices, and incorporating easy-to-do running-specific strength work, and all having it come together with great accountability and motivation, visit kylecrans.com to learn more about my coaching. Use that contact button and get a hold of me and let's talk. Don't get to 2-3 months from now and wish you would have contacted me now. Regret sucks, and getting started now will have you feeling better, stronger, and running well 3 months from now, 6 months from now. So if you're thinking about it at all, contact me. Let's jump on a call, see if we're a good fit for each other, and let's get started. So as always, you keep running, I'll keep coaching.